Hi everybody, welcome back for another winter adventure. With the hot tent, we're gonna do an overnight. We got snow on the ground, so stay tuned. So it's been a very cold here in the Northeast, with temperatures as low as 10-11 degrees Fahrenheit. So very cold overnight, and during the day roughly 32. Today looks like I timed this trip perfectly, because we have a heat wave. It's 41 degrees Fahrenheit right now, and we're expected to get down to 29 or 28 possibly overnight. And then tomorrow I'm gonna try to get out quickly, because another cold front is coming and temperatures will go down into the teens again. So rough week, but we have a lot of snow on the ground, so there was a lot of planning for this. I'm not wearing my spikes on the shoes, but I brought them, and this may be the very first time I have them. I've had them for a couple of years, but I've never worn them. But as you can see, there's plenty of snow on the ground. The trail definitely has a couple of inches of snow on it. So the concern here for this adventure was, you know, is this going to be a camping on snow or not? So I came prepared either way. I have the spikes to track, and I brought my hot tent just in case. Also, quite a bit of planning went into this, because there's always a decision to be made as to, will I find water where I'm going? And if not, do I risk bringing my water?
How you doing?
Hi there.
No, Summer, stay. Let's go.
It's okay.
Enjoy. Come.
Take care.
Summer, come. Summer, come.
So a decision has to be made whether I'm gonna find water where I'm going, or if I should bring additional water. And that decision is always a hard one, because I never know if I'm gonna find water. Although I look to stay at a place where I've been before, so I know whether or not there is water or what to expect getting up there. But you never know. It could be dry, it could be frozen, so there's no way to know. But I chose to bring the additional water, so that means additional weight, because that's an extra 4 pounds per bottle of water. I am bringing 3 liters of water for this trip. That's what I consider to be a comfortable amount for me to cook with, for me to have my coffee in the morning, and enough water for me to drink, especially with the hike and everything. So I'm not gonna need to get water, so I chose to pack up a little more weight. And in doing so, then it affects the decision of where I'm going, because obviously I can't hike too far with over 40 pounds of weight on my back, nor I'm inclined to do much climbing, because I am really scared of ice. And I don't want to put myself in a risky situation where there's a lot of ice where I'm going, and I could risk getting hurt. So a lot of planning on this one, more than usual. Let's see what we find up there. Stay tuned. More to come. Snow is so slippery. Hard to walk on it even. So that's my spot. This could be a bear track or a child. I think that's a deer. Doesn't look like anybody's been around here. So I'm at the spot at my campsite. It's completely covered with snow. Interesting, for the first time I'm able to see on the ground and kind of see who's been visiting this site. I'm no expert, but I see a couple of different sets of prints, at least 2 different ones. But there's another mysterious looking one, and that could be a small bear. I don't see the fingers, like the toes, but it almost looks like the foot of a small child, and doesn't look like anything or anyone's been around here, because there's some fresh snow over everything, and whatever tracks I see on the ground, they likely were made at least last night, or maybe even before the last little bit of snow fell. So I got a little work to do. I'm gonna have to pound the snow on this area here, so that I'm not setting up my tent on the soft. Of course I can't see where the rocks are and stuff, so this is why it's important to kind of know the area a little bit. As I said, I've been to this site before, so this is exactly where I set my tent, and I can see it's pretty flat here. So, but I don't know where exactly the rocks are, but I'm gonna try to put it in the same spot where I put the last time. But look how pretty this is. The sun is still pretty high. Problem with this site here is that there's not that much wood around, and I'm gonna have to do a bit of tracking in the soft snow, because there's no tracks around here to lead me to, you know, an area where there is, you know, pretty decent wood. It's always the kind of the issue here at this location, that this is sort of an open area and not much wood around. But what I want is maybe a fallen tree or something like that, not too thick, maybe you know, 3 or 4 inches wide, where I can cut with my saw and carry those big pieces, so I can split them and make them into smaller pieces. So we'll see. Let's get pounding. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is put my ground sheet. Okay, and that's gonna go right here in this area that I pounded. It's nice and flat, so that's where it's gonna go. All right, so I am all set for the evening. I have spent the last several hours looking for wood. I had to, walk pretty far to get wood. And of course, I can only carry a little bit at a time. So it took me a long time to bring all the logs all the way over here to the site. Maybe about 200 feet or 300 feet away. So I made like 3 or 4 trips, and now I just spent the last hour or so just processing my wood. So I have like the small little tiny ones, and then the little bigger ones, and the big ones, and so forth. So I am all set for the night. Hopefully this wood will burn. A lot of it is wet. So, you know, the night is falling. My feet are so wet and frozen right now. I can barely feel my toes. So I need to get inside, get this fire going, get my feet warmed up, and start thinking about the evening and dinner. It's way too cold, so I'm not going to hang out. And one of the reasons I like to bring the hot tent is so that as soon as night falls, I can crawl in. This is going to be a first time for me. I'm touching the ground, and because I'm like right on top of the snow, the ground is freezing cold, obviously. So I hope my pad is an insulated pad, but I've never slept on the snow. And I hope I brought the toughest one. I chose to bring this one because it's the widest. That's the one that I've been using lately. It has 25 inches across, so I can sleep on it comfortably. My arms don't fall on the ground. They don't touch the ground. So I hope that one withstands. I'm also going to put my clothes underneath the pad just to give some additional insulation, but this is going to be my first time sleeping on snow. I hope the pad is good enough. I have a feeling that it's not going to be, so I'm going to put my clothes underneath it for additional insulation, and then hopefully that will help to keep me warm overnight, because I really don't want to be cold tonight. So first things first, take off the wet socks. I need to get some new boots because it looks like it's not fully insulated. My sock got wet, and of course my feet got super cold. Right, these socks are supposed to be insulated, and they're waterproof. So my feet were dry, but because it got wet on the outside, it got really cold. And my boots are, I've been walking in the deep snow. So that's point number one. Of course, very heavy wool socks. I actually have an extra pair just in case if those get wet. And then I'm gonna be putting on my little booties, which are down booties. They'll help to warm up my feet. It's about 32 degrees outside of my tent, but I'm at 54. Of course, I have my stove, and it's really making a difference. I'm gonna have dinner and probably go to sleep. Well, I just had the most wonderful dinner, pasta beef marinara. Wow, that was, I think, was one of the best ones that I've had. Top 3 for sure. Now comes the part that I hate the most. I'm gonna have to leave my tent and go hang my food and any smelly things, trash, in the bear hang. So a bit of a hike. I set up a little beacon to guide me tonight so I wouldn't get lost in the snow. Let's see how that works out. So I'm gonna hit it and then come back so that I can chill in the tent and go to sleep. Hi, good morning everyone. It's freezing cold. I had to brave the cold and put on my jacket, leave the sleeping bag behind and go get my food that was hanging about 150 feet away or so. Cut some more wood. I can get warmed up a little bit. I'm gonna make my coffee. I'm almost out of water, so I'm having to melt some snow, and that will be the water for my coffee. Day started at 22 degrees. It's now 4:24. It'll get up to 30 at some point. So the packing job is gonna be difficult. Can't wait for the coffee though. I'm ready. Hi there guys. So it took a while, but I'm all packed up. Boy, things are so much harder when there's so much snow. You can't put things down because they get wet and so forth. So I'm not that concerned right now because once I get home I have to unpack everything and I'm just gonna wash things and clean everything up and dry everything up and take the tent out of the bag and dry it out and clean it up and all that. So main concern is getting things into the pack. I actually ran out of room. I thought I'd have more room on the way out than on the way in. That's usually the case, but it's all about how I pack things and how I was able to get things back in there. So there's a little room missing, but it's okay. All of the parts of the snow where I had packed it in, especially the area here where I put my tent on top of, has become ice. So I am super glad that I brought my spikes today. I am testing them out for the first time. Never wore them before and they are awesome. I mean, I am like stuck to the ground. I could go on ice, I could go anywhere and there's no slippage whatsoever. Man, I'm gonna start bringing these along for every winter trip now from now on. Yeah, I'm almost out of water. I drank so much water, I would have ran out the 3 liters that I brought. So I guess I had to drink more than I anticipated. And another thing too, plan a little better for the next time. Getting out of here, got about a couple miles to go, and I'm gonna get my backpack on and get the heck out of here. It's been wonderful having you. I hope you enjoyed this trip as much as I did. It certainly has been a learning adventure. I always try to learn a few things and try to share with you guys some of my learnings. If you ever get a chance to come out in the snow, having the hot tent is definitely the way to go. So until the next time, thanks for riding along. Take care.